And now some of those conversations from yesterday, and we explored the theme. The theme for this year for Afrexim is building the future on decades of resilience. And I was wondering why they chose that theme. So beginning with that, I had a conversation with the Managing Director of Trade, Finance and Corresponding Banking Global Trade with Afreximbank, Ms. Gwen Waba, and she told me that and a whole lot more.
I think the theme of this year's annual meeting is very apt because it's really representing the pinnacle of the work of the bank over the last 10 years. The bank has gone through and survived through many crises. We had the commodity crisis of 2016 to 2018, then we had the COVID-19 pandemic, then the Ukraine-Russia crisis, etc. And the bank, through all of these crises, has remained resilient. It's been able to adapt, stay the course, and bounce back from all of these crises. And we've helped our clients as well to weather the storm. So 10 years of Professor Orama's reign at the helm of Afreximbank, I think this theme really just defines the pinnacle of that 10-year peak.
And over the past decade, what progress would you say Africa has recorded?
I think as an African continent, Afreximbank obviously has been at the helm also of helping African countries, African state-owned entities and African corporates to continue to grow and build and become better positioned to compete with the rest of the world, but also to bolster intra-regional trade, encouraging trade between African countries, within and amongst African countries.
Would you say that, this latest introduction of tariffs globally has brought African countries closer to themselves?
I would say that, as you know, the launch of the AfCFTA, one of the purposes is really to do away with tariff barriers and other intra-regional barriers, the tariffs being just one of them. Obviously, if the continent is to trade with one another, it's important that we harmonize tariff standards so that we can encourage African countries to trade with one another. Otherwise, there'll be no incentive for countries to trade with other African countries. If there are barriers to entry into other African markets, then they'll just continue to trade with countries outside of the continent. So tariffs is one aspect, but there's obviously many other barriers to intra-regional trade.
It doesn't matter how much Africa tries. It's a global world, so that means Africa will still need those extra African trade.
Absolutely. So my business primarily focuses on extra African trade. And you're right, the continent, whilst we bolster intra-regional trade, we can't quite do away with trading with the rest of the world. Remember, Africa is a big producer of resources. What we need to do is add value to those resources and then export those resources outside the African continent. But more importantly, Africa is also a net importer of most goods and services. For example, as we industrialize the continent, we don't yet have the production facilities for big manufacturing equipment or for factories on the African continent. So we still need to import some of that technology, both physical and intellectual technology, to help us industrialize the continent. So the way I see it, whilst we boost inter-regional trade, we will always have an element of extra African trade, both for imports and for exports. But the goal really is to reduce dependence on outside of Africa so that we can be more self-reliant and self-sufficient within the African continent.
And what strategies do you think can be employed to bring about a balance between the intra-African trade and the extra-African?
Yes, so there's certain quick wins that we can do. For example, I read a statistic that out of the available arable land globally, 69% of that land is on the African continent. What does that tell you? We can grow our own food. So not only can we ensure our food security within the African continent, perhaps Africa can also become the breadbasket of the world. If we build mega farms, industrialized and highly mechanized mega farms on the African continent, there's no reason why we can't feed ourselves, but also feed the rest of the world, just as an example.
I guess that's why you have a seminar coming up?
We do have a seminar in November. It's a capacity building seminar that we hold every year. And it's basically a seminar that trains bankers, lawyers, anybody involved in trade, particularly connected with Africa, And this year, the seminar is being hosted in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, on the 4th to 7th of November, 2025. And we hope, as usual, that all of our financial institutions' clients and their clients will be able to attend. Join us in Abidjan.